Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! This was almost a decade ago, so campus catering rarely did weddings. And honestly, the food we made was so bad and so poorly handled, I think you'd want to avoid it. But the father of the groom was a big name on campus, so it was held on campus and we had to cater it. I am managing the entries, serving up terrible chicken in a thick, congealed sauce, and vegetarian pasta that's basically just a messy made pasta. Primavera was cheap, nasty oil on it. I'm managing the entries, serving up terrible chicken in a thick, congealed sauce, and vegetarian pasta that's basically just a messy made pasta. Primavera was cheap, nasty oil on it. Seriously, I love me some Primavera, and I wouldn't touch this garbage with a 10-foot pole. We're winding down, the last of the food is out in a few minutes, and we will put the main course away and set out the dessert course. Suddenly, the entitled brat appears. He's about 10, so he absolutely knows better than to do this, and he decides that it's going to be the funniest thing in the entire world to yank the tablecloth away. Seriously, he was giggling the whole time, so I knew something was up. When I got him with the edge of the tablecloth, I moved fast. Kid, don't even think about it. It's going to end very badly. The entitled brat giggles more and starts pulling. So I walk over, take the tablecloth out of his hand, and tell him to scream. I go back behind the table, smooth my apron, and continue my awful job. And that's when things went badly. An entitled mother says, "Why did you chase my baby? He wasn't doing anything wrong." Ma'am, your child was about to pull the tablecloth down, and it's my job to stop him. If I don't, I could be fired. Yes, this happened to a colleague. "We are paying for this wedding. Don't you know who I am?" And that's when I realized that this was a mother of the bride. "Ma'am, I understand, but there are little..." And that was when she jumped across the table, grabbed my head, and tried to force my face into the tray of sauce for the chicken. A very hot tray heated by a lit sterno underneath. I, of course, started hitting her and screaming. The father of the groom, the entitled dad, and the bride and groom, and my boss all come running over. The dad suddenly decides to try helping his wife try to shove my face into the sauce. I start clawing at him too, while the groom and his dad try to pry these people off me. The bride screams something like, "You promised! You promised!" I'm not entirely sure here, it was chaos. My boss is standing off to one side like a potato. All the while, the entitled brat is sitting off to the side, laughing like this is the funniest thing he's ever seen. In the end, the table went over and caught on fire from the sternos. A fire extinguisher was employed and the wedding was basically ruined. My boss pulled me aside while I prepared to press charges. Boss tells me, "You can't talk to the police." Actually, I can. "If you talk to the police, I'll fire you." "That's illegal, you can't do that." "Your choice." I ended up pressing charges and even told him what my boss said. He couldn't fire me then. The bride handed me a huge slice of cake because she was pretty sure my boss would steal my tips. Ah, he did. To start off, I work as an animal control officer. This means impounding stray dogs, investigating alleged animal-related law violations, and writing tickets for said violations. I would say half my calls I get are related to animals that have either gotten lost, dumped, or don't understand property lines. The other half is mixed with zoonotic disease control. Think rabies, aggressive animals, and of course cruelty allegations. Few key points to this story. When we get a report of alleged animal cruelty, we collect information, look up the property owner to see any prior records, and then physically go out and check the property as a high priority call. While I work 8 to 5, I am often on call where if the sheriff's office needs to, they can contact me for assistance. This is usually for an injured animal, an aggressive animal, or to pick up an animal where the owner cannot maintain custody. Typically, if they feel it's not an emergency, They just write it up and email the report to me. Well, I got a call one day about a property we have previously been to for animals running loose, except this time the caller stated the animals were tied to chains without access to water or shelter. I collect what information I can, then head out in the morning, where I see that the owner has made efforts to restrain the animals through use of chains. Done properly, this is not cruel and helps prevent the dogs from wandering off property. But I noticed that multiple animals did not have access to water or shelter. I tried knocking, yet no one answered, so I decided to provide water to the animals I could access and then leave a notice to contact us. This is normal for cases where the animal isn't in immediate jeopardy and removing the animals would need a seizure warrant. The rest of the day was rather uneventful and unusually resulted in no dogs coming back with me to the shelter. So then the point about me being on call comes up. I get a few phone calls, but since they do not say sheriff's office, I do not answer them. This is pretty usual, as if it's an emergency. The sheriff's office is called, not me. Some time passes and the phone rings again, except this time it says the sheriff's office. Already feeling this probably isn't going to be a fun call, I answer. And the call goes along the lines of this. Hello, this is X with Animal Control. Hey, there is a guy on the line that says his dog was kidnapped. Okay. Does the caller know who kidnapped the dog? Yeah, he says it was Animal Control. Is it alright if we put you through with him? Sure, that's fine. Okay, sir. We patched you through with X and Animal Control. Hello, sir. How can I help you? The man with a woman in the background also screaming at him. Yeah, one of your officers came by today and they kidnapped our dog for no reason, stating that water and shelter wasn't available when there was no reason for them to take my dog that was on my property. And that dog is a service dog that needs to come back right now. Okay, sir. And you're in X area? Yeah. We tried calling but no one answered. Alright, well, that would have been me that went by your house today, but we didn't take any animals from your house, sir. Can you describe what the dog looks like? He talks to a woman in the background a bit, then says, Well then, where is our dog? And why are you leaving this paper here? All of our animals are very well taken care of. He's white and tan and very well cared for. Clearly someone must have taken our dog because he ain't here. After guessing the description, I realized I saw the dog unrestrained on the property. Sir, I did see your dog earlier, but I know I didn't take your dog because I didn't impound any animals today, and I'm the only officer that was on duty. I'm sorry that I don't know where your dog is, but I'll be by tomorrow morning to speak with you about the notice I left today. Alright? He does more talking in the background then says, Fine, but I better get my dog back. He's a service animal. Finally, I am able to hang up and then I see I have a voicemail left about 10 minutes ago, 5 minutes before the sheriff's office called. What I hear shocks me. This is the exact voicemail. You need to call me as soon as possible. That ain't the only dog that runs loose, and he doesn't spend time outside overnight, so he doesn't need a shelter. He's an inside dog, and we watered him in the morning. Now you call me back, or we are calling the sheriff's office. You come on my property again, I'm arresting you for trespassing. In fact, I want you to call the sheriff's office. I want a deputy in my house in no later than 15 minutes. So the following morning, I do my usual routine with paperwork, checking voicemails, and getting prepared with a lot of coffee. I started heading out but called the sheriff's office to send a deputy to the location since the man stated he would arrest me if I was on his property. I get there, see the deputy, and inform him of the situation. After letting him listen to the voicemail, I still remember cracking up as the exact words he said were, "He sounds like a douchebag." When I went to the door, the wife answered, then a son came out to also talk to me. They explained that it turned out the service dog was under the porch the entire time. I informed them of what charges needed to be made for the dogs under their care. I never saw the man and everyone was extremely polite with the deputy there. After it was all talked out, I thanked the kind deputy for keeping things civil just by being there. I went about my day as normal. I would return many times to that house to follow up on changes they made, which were fine as far as they rehomed most of the dogs. I've never seen the Porsche dog in a service vest and do not expect to. I still have yet to be arrested for trespassing. On June 25, I had a surgery that didn't go as planned. Since then, I've spent 25 days in the hospital, have been taken to the hospital 3 times by ambulance, and have had a whole herd of nurses come to the house to give me care. I'm doing better now. I expect my neighbors to be curious, but she's entitled and annoying. Here is an exchange I overheard between her and one of my nurses.
Hi, are you a nurse?
Yeah?
Why are you here?
Just providing care. I can't tell you more than that without their permission.
Well, can you tell me if it's the man or woman getting care?
No, I can't tell you that.
But I need to know.
Are you family?
No, I live next door.
Then I can't tell you.
You should tell me. If they have something that I can get, you legally have to tell me.
No, I don't. Medical records are private. If you want to know, ask them yourself.
Well, I asked one of the other nurses that came over and she said she would tell me.
I doubt that, otherwise you would know.
She just ran out of time to tell me, so you should just tell me, okay?
I am not telling you.
Well, the other neighbor across the street knows what's going on, so one of the nurses had to tell him. But he won't share with me, so you should just tell me.
I told the other neighbor because they aren't rude and I like and have become friends with them. I'm sorry, I can't and won't tell you. I need to go inside now.
You need to move your car then. You can't park where you are.
I am parked on a street where other cars are parked. Why can't I park there?
Well, someone else who lives in this neighborhood might need to park there.
Nobody ever parks there except people visiting me. Okay, well, I'm not moving my car, and I need to go inside.
Wait, do they have COVID? I don't want to get COVID.
I can't tell you that. Bye. The annoying neighbor then stood on the sidewalk watching my door for about 10 minutes, huffing until she finally left. Swear to God, some people. This actually happened to a friend of my stepfather's. The woman in the story is a wonderful down-to-earth woman who just so happens to be extremely wealthy and owns a lot of local businesses and has a heavy involvement in them. However, doesn't dress like she has money. Pam was out and about one day shopping and had been killing time before an important business meeting and decided to head inside early. Pam had walked in to speak to the old manager about the yearly takings and new hires. New manager. She was dressed down as usual, however her hair, occasional makeup were always impeccable. Plus the huge diamond stud in her ears should have been a huge giveaway. The new manager was a new hire and had in the interviews and seemed on paper a perfect fit, apart from thinking a little too highly of herself and slightly snotty attitude. Apart from thinking a little too highly of herself and slightly snooty attitude. However, this was common for this area and the younger generation, so the old manager decided to give her a go and hired her. So Bam walks in early for the meeting and begins browsing like she always does, taking in the aesthetics of the shop, the atmosphere and so on, just waiting for the old manager. The new manager sees this and gives Bam a dirty side-eye glance. Bam is checking prices, moving items back to where they should be and so on, and obviously the new manager finds this strange. The new manager runs over looking annoyed, shouting at Pam to stop touching the products, that they are obviously well out of her price range, and they do not allow people in to just browse. She rips the products out of Pam's hands, insisting that she should not be in a store. She's definitely not the type of client they cater for, and she must leave.
You're putting off real customers, she said.
Pam just stares at the new manager wide-eyed and open-mouthed, while the new manager is attempting to hustle Pam towards the outside door. Pam, without saying a word, shoves off the new manager and storms past her through the back and into the back office. The new manager runs after her, screaming that she definitely can't be back there and that if she doesn't leave,
she will call the police and she, Pam, will be arrested. At this point, other staff members, some who know Pam, have tried explaining to the new manager but can't stop her screaming, and customers are standing just watching all this unfold. When the new manager makes it into the office, she finds Pam on the office phone just starting a conversation. The new manager screams again that she cannot be back here, all the while grabbing for the office phone. A few moments later, the old manager rushes into the back office, mobile phone in hand and a shocked expression on her face. The new manager doesn't see this and again screams at Pam that she cannot be back with her and that she, the new manager, is going to call the police and have Pam arrested. Pam has had enough and shouts, "What? You'll have me arrested from a store that I own?" Pam attempts to shout over the new manager screaming. She hadn't noticed the old manager running, and it went as follows. "Old manager, can you please calm this girl down, explain to her who I am, why I'm here, and please tell me what in the world were you thinking when you took her on?" With this, the new manager suddenly pipes down and looks round. She heard what Pam had said, but it obviously took a few minutes to process. The old manager is standing open-mouthed like a goldfish gasping for air, while Pam is as cool as a cucumber and turns to make herself a coffee. The old manager suddenly remembers how to breathe and speak and chokes out, "No manager, this is Pam, our owner and landlord. This whole row of shops belong to her. She has come in today to go over the yearly takings and to help review the new hires we've taken on." Pam has a very active role in her business. Although she's not always seen by all staff, she's heavily involved in everything that is done and every decision made. This makes her a great owner and a businesswoman, as she knows everything that goes on without her companies, and she's always fair. Now it was the new manager's turn to be wide-eyed and open-mouthed. Pam sat down in the office chair, coffee in hand, and smiled at the old manager. "Come sit," she said to the old manager, and patted the chair next to her. "I think we will start with the new manager's review first. Don't you think, old manager?" Now Pam was never a lady to raise her voice. To be honest, she didn't need to. When she spoke, there was a certain air of authority about her, usually twinged with kindness and smiles. Not today, though. Pam simply explained that the one thing she hated most in this world was being treated differently. To her, it didn't matter if you had a penny or £1,000,000. She would still treat you the same. That was the motto of her business, and this girl had gone against everything she believed in. Everything her and her husband had worked so hard for all these years. This was truly unacceptable and would not be tolerated. Who knows how many potential customers she had chased away just because of how they look. So it's safe to say the new manager lost her job, and after everyone in the community had heard about who she was, what she had done, and how she had treated Pam, no one wanted to employ her as a manager or anything else. Yes, Pam and her husband were extremely wealthy, but it was all hard work and effort that got them there. They would never have done it without the people who had been there for them when they started out with nothing. They never forgot who they were and where they came from, and always treated everyone they met with kindness and compassion.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.